right, guys, welcome back to the Hits Objective podcast, where we hit the objective and manifest the goals and dreams that we truly aspire for. I know it's been some time since you've seen me, but I'm here, still kicking. And today we have a special, let's just call him a special guest. Today we're about to do things a little bit different. And really, it's in the light of talking about something that I feel is quite pressing, something I feel that we all have a question about, at least in our minds. Maybe we've been talking about it to friends, maybe we've been seeing it on the news, we've been having some internal conversations with that monologue that never keeps quiet. But we have been having some thought processing on this. And we're talking about AI today, guys. AI and how you feel AI can affect your life. Are you overwhelmed by AI? And today we have none other than Jonathan Gass, a co-founder of Hits Objective. You might see, if I could ever zoom to the back here and show you what the poster has on it. It has Vin, Jonathan, and Michael. And basically, we the three of us, we started the whole thing. We conceptualized the whole program. And so today we have John with us, and we're just gonna be just really chopping it up and talking about AI and if it's overwhelming. So John, give us a little bit of a backstory about you and me, and how we got into this, and let's swoop right into what we're here to talk about today.
Right, right. Well, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be there, and cheers, Michael. Thank you very much for inviting me in the podcast. So where to start? There are so much things to say. So just to let you know, guys. So back in 2017, I came in Saint Lucia, and I stayed in the island for about 4 years, and I had a chance to meet a wonderful individual who is Michael. And with him, I basically we were able to work on several projects, especially regarding food security, and as well child support in different part of the island with some local NGOs. So we were working together on different type of videos and interviews, and so that's where we actually really connect. And from this time, from the time I came back in France, well, we always stayed in contact, and always linked up. So that's a very cool friendship we have there. And about a year ago, it was probably around May 2024, and I know that Michael had this podcast in mind since the time, and we had talked about something similar back in the days as well. And we basically conceptualize this whole podcast, and I came most likely as a support regarding technical aspect of it. Yeah, well, today, as Michael said, we'll be talking about a particular subject, which is AI. And we like to know, and we know it goes that way as well, if you are feeling overwhelmed about this, because as Michael said, you might have heard of it in the news or online, or you might have played with it, maybe with ChatGPT or anything else. You might have strong concern about it, or you might probably not care about it at all. But it's cool because we can talk about it from multiple different angles. And I will give back the mic to Michael, and we'll dive more into the subject.
I appreciate you, John. Yes, guys, and believe it or not, we're here to talk about AI today, and it actually played a strong role in the conceptualization of this podcast and just generally the ideology of our actions moving forward, and where we see ourselves, and the trajectory of where we had. So I would have approached John about the podcast about maybe just under a year ago. Just about kind of releasing some information, basically sharing knowledge, because we've always had these, I would say high level conversations, and we figured, I figured it'd be good for people to hear this. Why not listen? Why not allow people the opportunity, to be a part of the process? You know what I'm saying? And we came to this point and I told John about the podcast, and immediately he brought AI to my attention. Funny enough, and he was telling me that, bro, these conversations we have, do you know that I can have the AI, and very, very basic stuff. He told me, do you know that I can have the AI record us and put all of what we say into transcript and then use that transcript to create. So guys, basically what AI does is it takes data and via a command, a prompt given by the user of the AI is able to produce or create new information for you. Or you could say it's able to curtail your request very wonderfully. So we would have had the AI listen to all of our conversations at length, of where we see the podcast going, what we want from it, different angles from it. And I'm telling you guys, I have this entire document on this podcast, and generally the AI is what I would say summarized it for me. And of course, having John involved, and he was the one who put me onto it, I was like, wow, that's beautiful. So it means, like, you guys, you could write books, you could do so many different types of things using AI. The very room that I am in, just like I was saying in the last episode, AI helped us build it. John is like 1,000 kilometers, thousands of miles away from me. Let's just say that.
Even
John,
more, like about 10,000 something.
You're about 10,000. There you go. Where exactly do you live in France again, John?
So I'm actually
Boston?
currently based in the French Alps. So that's
Based in the French Alps.
if you look at the map, that will be close by Italy. So south of France, southeast of France, in the mountain, just nearby. Closer to Italy. Yeah.
To Italy. All right, lovely. And John is so far away, but because of the AI that we used, it created this immersive experience for me where it's almost as if John was right next to me. So I had to do basically the room, right? I had to set up the room in such a way where the lighting could make sense, where, the backdrop could make sense. And, I'm not a interior designer myself, nor is John, but we had AI. And John ran me through this quick AI stuff. He told me send a picture of the room, different angles of the room, and basically what I'm seeing today was what the AI produced. So it's so crazy, guys, that how you could literally conceptualize something. Of course, thoughts are things, they start in the mind and they put them out. You put it out into the world through your words and through your actions. But now we have this thing we call AI in the mix of it all, which I believe is making things easier for us. But at the same time, I know we have concerns because, like I would have started, the AI takes your data. So, John, tell me more about data. Like, this universe is built of zeros and ones. This universe is binary code, right? We know this, right? What does that data have to do with the AI growing, and what is the extent of? Because I like to think of it, John, from an angle where it's almost as if the data that we have inside of us is not just cognitive responses to stimuli. It's actually sometimes divine. So can AI have a divine element? How far do you see, John, AI going with the fact that it's basically taking all of this data that we have, whatever that may be, a click of a video, or maybe you just ask a question, all of that is data, and it takes it and it creates what you want from it. But in your perspective, John, where do you see things going with this and your understanding of data, its importance, and how the AI using our data can affect us or have effect on us in the future? Like, what's your perspective on that?
So what a huge topic, it's we need to touch base on a lot of different things, but it's super interesting, and you will realize that it's much more closer to you than what you can imagine, because you are a data creator on a daily basis, right? You are creating data through your interaction with other people. You are creating data through like your use of social media, internet, of like basically think about data in a way where, for example, the way you drive your car every morning to go to work, like the particular way that you drive it, it's basically data. I could look at it, I could observe it, I could analyze it and say, okay, that's your way to drive. Your way to interact with other people, your particular way to deal with problem, deal with your maybe sometimes joy, depression, like anxiety,
Emotions.
whatsoever. Like all of these is producing data, right? Like if I had to look at like your particular character, we could say, you know, like a life resume, you know, like, and even your resume when we're talking about work wise, you know, you when you're doing like you actually like want to go for a new job or get hired somewhere, you actually say to the people, okay, that's who I am, that's what I've done, and that's why you should employ me, because my data fits to yours data for this particular employment. So that said, you are a data creator, really and truly on, and we can go even deeper into that. But just to understand, like AI has been built on your data, right? For a long time, you know, we've said, oh, you know, well, when I go online and like these giant companies, like they're using my data on a daily basis, and you keep on accepting, you know, you keep on accepting cookies when you go on a website, you keep on accepting, you know, general condition when you use a new app, etc., because they are using your data to their favor, right? To build a bigger product that they will sell to you. You know, they use your data to sell something to you, to have like some like some personalized advertisements, etc. But guess what? With AI, it's your time to actually use your data, because artificial intelligence has been trained on your data, on human interaction, on internet, and as well through like all the human knowledge throughout the ages, right? Human have been have created so much data through the ages, you know, like all the encyclopedia, and you know, like all of that is human knowledge, right? And
Hieroglyphs. You
hieroglyph,
know, all of this.
exactly,
You know, the old
everything,
text. Right.
old
Tablets.
text, tablets, from all the like you know, from the time civilization exists, and the thing is, you now have access to it. You know, you don't need to read the entire book. You don't need to spend your entire life in a library, you know, to actually like look for the right data. All what you need to do is ask the right question. And that's what it's about, like with prompting. Prompting is asking the right question to answer to the right problem, you know, to find the answer to the right problem. And that's what AI allow you to do, you know. And the thing is, like you just to react on what you have said, Mikey, regarding, you know, regarding like the divine, you know, like it's not only about like cognitive, it's about the divine, right? Well,
Right.
guess what? In ancient knowledge, like the ancient, especially like in the Asian knowledge, but it's actually all over the world in like a lot of different culture. But we used to call something Akasha field, right? The Akasha field is the level of data that is produced in a place and that still exists in a place. Very simple example. If you are going by the beach and you eat a sandwich by the beach, in the history of the place, there is this day at this particular hour that, you know, we know that you came at that beach. Like, I mean, it's in the history of the place, you know. It could
Right.
exist in like terrible event, in daily event, like I just said, or like awesome events, even like the time where you actually like went by the beach and said to that girl that you loved her. Well, that's actually part of the history of that beach, right? And the thing is, that's what we call Akasha field. It's the memory of the place. It's the field of data, and that's what like in a way is directly linked to the divine, right? So
So just to touch base on that, Akasha field. Would you say that that's just basically like an energy? Like, so is energy data, John? Would you concur that energy is data, or
well,
data or
well,
data
of
is
course,
energy?
energy is a form of data, because one more time, like let's take the example of the beach again.
Right.
You go by the beach, like let's say for one day, like the sea is really calm, and you go on next day and the sea is very rough and very dangerous. You have like very strong waves and stuff. So in that case, the waves, right, represent the energy, the strength. like how strong the wave hitting the shore, right? That's the energy of the wave. And very like funny enough, like there is this famous physician, and like I would say the father of the electricity, not Thomas Edison but Nikola Tesla. And he actually said, if you want to understand the universe, you need to understand the universe in three things, vibration, frequencies, and energy. In the example of the wave, right? The like how rough the wave is hitting the shore, that's the energy, right? The vibration is the wave itself, right? The wave is a vibration, and the frequencies is how much time the wave is going to hit the shore again and again and again. And just to link that, if we are more on a down to earth subject, just to link that to AI. With AI, you could analyze it. You could analyze it. Say on Tuesday, that's how the show was. That on Thursday, that's how it was, etc., etc. And actually, like that's what we have been doing. Like humankind keep on analyzing things when it comes to geology, etc., etc. But the problem is that when you analyze a huge amount of data, it's harder to identify patterns. It's harder to identify the real knowledge you can extract from that. And to jump back as well on what you were saying earlier, Mikey, regarding like the creation of its objective. We were talking like what we are doing right now. We were talking on the phone, we were talking during meetings, etc., etc. And all of these talks, like that's data. Like if I had to transcript that, it's a text. So like that, you really need to understand like data as a text, for example, right? And the thing is, like you could have somebody by the side writing, but you know how tiring it is, like for somebody like to just capture the entire word, like all the words that I will say. So the thing is, if you use a voice recorder with AI, you could just like transcript the text and then use this text so you do not lose any side of the data. And then later on, use this data, as Mikey said, to build blog, to build a script, to build a frame for a particular project, like what we've done with its objective. So yeah, that's basically it. And I will give you back the mic, but there's so much to say again on this
Yeah,
particular
man. Because
subject.
it really kind of blew my mind when we did that. And then I know that AI is probably how long would you say that AI has been kind of commercial? I'd say maybe about 4 years, 5 years now since
Well,
since.
that's a great question.
Mm,
Actually, like a GPT came out in the November 2022, if I'm not wrong, right? And GPT, so that's like about like less than 3 years.
less than 3 years.
And but the thing is, and that's what we truly need to understand, the artificial intelligence, like um, a lot of scientists have been working on since like the mid 50s, like 1950s. That's really and truly like where like they actually like envision that at the baseline of like computer science, etc., etc. So it does like it seems like but because we see only like the tip part of the iceberg,
Right.
it seems that it's pretty new, but in fact it has
So it's
been
been in the workings. It's
it,
been in the workings.
yeah, it has
Because
been in the
if we
workings.
go if we go as far as like even ancient Sumerian texts, it's said that artificial intelligence was kind of already a
Right.
theory by the Anunnaki. Like it's almost as if it was an idea that they came up with, but they didn't seek to go through with it because it seemed to have a very volatile nature and seemed that maybe perhaps AI would become so sentient that it would maybe like destroy its creator. And I mean, do you think that that carries any value to what we're going through right now? Because I mean, what I see happening is that right now the AI is kind of like in its floppy disk form. Like you remember how we used to have saving, like very small Word documents on these floppy disk drives. They were
Right.
like ancient technology. I think right now AI is in that form, but I feel what's going to happen eventually is that they're going to fuse AI with robotics, and I think that's where we're going to start to get the issues. But do you see it becoming an issue, or do you see us harnessing the artificial intelligence to the point where we may have, you know, I don't know, overextended ourselves, maybe far beyond what the Anunnaki thought could have happened, and perhaps maybe we could find some kind of common ground with artificial intelligence, and it could be more of a utopia rather than a dystopian future for us. Like, do you see us actually coming to that point of coexisting with AI, or do you see AI becoming so sentient that it believes that it could overthrow its creators? Is that something that's even possible? Because I've seen a lot of AI creators, and they've been talking about the fact that, you know, what we're feeding this thing, it's so grand, and that's why I spoke on the divine element of it, because the human mind is so it's so deep, so large, you know, so expansive, that, you know, there's so much that can come out of it. And so a lot of our inspirations and aspirations don't just necessarily come from the fact that we went to school and someone told us, you know, you
Right.
could do that and you could do that. It comes from a place that is unseen, unknown,
Absolutely.
you know. So can that AI eventually have access to that unknown? And if it were to, even if we cannot necessarily perceive what artificial intelligence would do, because we can't say what our dog would do or what our mom would do you see AI coming to a point where it becomes destructive towards human beings?
Well, I think that's the core message as well. I mean, the core question we are on today, like, and that most likely, I mean, you know, that's why people feeling like really overwhelmed with
I think
AI.
that's the biggest thing. Yeah,
That's
like the whole
that's
Terminator,
right,
the whole Terminator
right.
effect. Right.
So to answer to your question, I do believe it's a matter of perspective, right, as usual, because if you look at the world how it look like today, and if you ask me to tell you like if it's going to stay the same way forever, that's a lie. And that's, as I mean, it has always been the case, right? The real difference with this new technology is that we are at another level of shift, of massive shifting, right? So the thing is, AI, you know, I mean, okay, let's draw, you know, let's go back a little bit in the time, you know. We need to understand what happened like during the last century to really, you know, answer to that question. I believe. From the time we had the industrial era, right? We start to see hyper specialization. And the thing is, with hyper specialization, my apologies for that term, is the thing is, like, from the time we specialize more and more and more and more and more, and like the less we see the bigger picture. And the thing is, like, for example, even the like the academics, you know, like for about like 150 years, we said to the people, oh, you need to get a diploma, you need to be specialized in that particular field, because otherwise you will not succeed, you will not get employed, etc., etc., etc. The problem here is that like the whole education system, the whole educational system was not designed to like make the people rise from their actual situation. It was designed to keep the people above like a certain level, and make
At the worker level.
a worker level, right? You need to fit. You know, that's what they ask you when you go to school. You need to fit in the frame. You know, you need to fit in the frame, and that's, you need to fit in the frame as well when you become an adult, right? So, and the thing is, with that said, well, if you have a job that is highly replaceable because you have like a high level of routine, you know, of tasks that keep on being the same, like every day, and it's that are mechanics, right? You remember like what Charlie Chaplin had said in a movie like back in the days, you know, saying, machine man with machine gun with machine life, etc., etc. You know, that's what they've designed with the industrial era, you know, and machinal thinking as well, you know. So the thing is, like, yeah, well, against the machine, you will be deleted. That's the reality, right? That said, that does that mean like you will disappear? No, that means we need to see that intelligence is not IQ. Answering to a questionnaire, that's not what define intelligence, right? It's not
Precisely.
because you are, and you've seen it already in your life. There's people that are like very clever, in school, but they are not like street smart. They are not like business smart. Or they can be, but I mean that your IQ doesn't define like how smart you
Right.
are.
Or they lack emotional intelligence. Your
Precise,
IQ really
precisely,
doesn't matter.
precisely. Your IQ doesn't define your there's criminals that have high level of IQ, but they are murderers, but they like the emotional intelligence is just not there.
Yeah, they're
So
sociopaths, right?
they are sociopath, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we need to see intelligence on a larger scale, right? And for example, when like the biggest data producer of all time is not us human, is nature, right? Nature is the biggest, is the call it as you want, universe, nature, Pachamama, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever
Right.
name resonate the best with you. But at the end of the day, nature is the biggest data producer. But the thing is, nature define intelligence by adaptation, right? Real intelligence in nature is not how strong you are, because we saw massive animals disappear. They were extremely strong. They could destroy a lot of other animals, eat a lot of other animals. But if they cannot adapt to new situation, nature is like straight to the point with that. They will just disappear straight up. So
That's
so
right.
so when you look at nature, you look at certain kingdom. For example, plants, right? The green kingdom, the plant kingdom. Like these are like these like you have species that have been on Earth for like millions of years, and they were able like to adapt. They were able to adapt to different weather, to different situation, and us human as well. We were able like to adapt from you know uh, massive flooding, massive like mass extinction, like
Right.
and so. But why? Because the people that were able to survive by them time was the people that were able to adapt, and and you see it in a on a daily basis, right? So adaptation is a key, right? And to answer like even deeper to your question, like AI, one more time, is here to assist you in problem solving, right? If you face a problem in your life, and we all face problem in our life, in on a emotional level, on a work wise level, like you just need to identify these problems, right? For example, I don't know, like you identify that like when you have a relationship with somebody, you keep on getting angry with them for certain type of reason. Well, you can be assisted with AI, but you need to speak to it. You need to speak your problem, and you don't need to speak your problem in a very highly literature way. You can just like talk to it. Just talk to it the way we do
Yeah,
right now.
I actually have a couple of friends who've told me that they really do talk to AI, like the ChatGPT and stuff. It knows their business, it knows all their little,
Right.
because they actually get a better response from AI than they get from people. And that's funny. It's funny that you'd say that. I also really love your response for the question, if you see AI becoming destructive to human beings. And what I feel it is, John, is that we're just going, like you said, it's through an evolutionary process. We cannot stop this AI that's coming. We cannot stop it. What we can do is we can adapt to it. And I like to tell friends, to always go back to this biblical prayer, the serenity prayer. It basically says, John, always have the courage, to accept the things you cannot change. The because there are things you just cannot change. I believe that AI is coming and it's coming to stay. But it's a question of adaptation. How are you looking at this thing as a new thing? A lot of the times we like to kind of cast new to the side because it's the fear of the unknown. And I mean, I guess being a human being and having that fear that fear-based mechanism in you is kind of helpful to you most times, but probably not all the time.
Right.
It really is about rising above adversities and like breaking through and not breaking down. So I feel it's important for people to understand that, like you said, AI is here to help, and it really is about usage. You know, how do you how do you how do you use this thing to your advantage, not your disadvantage? I think that's what's super important. So, guys, before you go and you approach AI, with a closed mind, you think to yourself, where is this going? As in, will this stop? It's a completely new thing. It's been there since what, 2022, and so it's a exponentially growing industry. John was telling me about a few weeks ago that it's almost as if every single month there's this new company that increases on the AI product, and it's almost as if, guys, eventually we're going to be fully meta. That the world is going to be highly meta, and it's not about becoming like a Bobo Shanti Rasta. Shout outs to all my Rastas out there, all the real ones too. But at the end of the day, you cannot really extensively take yourself out of the system. It's about kind of using the system to your advantage, using the system because you are a part of it, and not necessarily being a statistic, but managing your statistics in life. I see AI as very, very helpful. That's how I see it so far. But again, we have a lot of cynical people who, John, I believe, are rich. Like, for instance, someone like Bill Gates, who
Mm-hmm.
consistently talks about, you know,
Right.
world depopulation.
Right.
And with someone like that having access to AI, and I know he has shares in it, I know he's part of all of this that's going on. How do we fare in that situation where these guys are like maniacs and they have maniac money, to do maniac things? It's almost as if you have to have some form of fear. I'm not saying that fear is good, but I'm saying you could understand why people are concerned about AI getting into the wrong hands, so to speak. Because in as much as it could be extremely helpful, with the nature that it has, and basically what they propose AI to eventually be, like I was telling you, with the fusion of robotics and
Mm-hmm.
actually having, right now you can talk to ChatGPT over, like on typing to it and stuff like that. Just you look at maybe the next 2-3 years down the line, you're gonna have ChatGPT in a humanoid form next to you, able to actually take action on your desires. So that gets me
Mm-hmm.
thinking. With hackers and different types of, again, cynical maniac people, where does that put the world? I think it's about a collective positive movement. I guess it's just about us again coming on here and doing what we're doing right now, and just kind of getting people a little bit more desensitized and understanding
Right.
that you can use things to your advantage in a positive way. It's just like you can use a knife to kill someone, or you can use a knife to peel your onion. The question is, where does your intention stand with all of the new things that are happening around you? And more so, like John was saying, you know how do you adapt to this oncoming, vehicle of a surprise that's coming your way, and there's no stopping it? Do you slide to the side, or do you take a ride? I mean, that really is what it is. So, John, what do you think is the main purpose of AI for the future in regards to assisting human beings? Like, I mean, for right now, let's just say we already at a point where it's super helpful. People use it to do their essays at school. People use it to do, like we were doing, interior design. People use it to do transcript work, stuff like that. You were telling me recently, John, that right now you could use AI to like create a whole movie. So like you don't even need actors, you don't need a script, you don't need a cast. You could just put you know some prompts into a command box, and then you could actually create a movie. So with that being said, where do you see AI extending out, like far beyond robotics? Like how far do you see this going in regards to the assistance of human beings? Just to clear the folks' minds on here, like that, AI is not just a Terminator robot that's coming to
Right.
kill you. Where do you see this going, and how positive? What are the benefits of AI moving forward with the exponential growth that it's clearly evidently showing?
Well, that's so many things to say once again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I would say first to answer to you in that regard is do not let your fear blind you. You know, that's valid for this particular topic, but that's valid for so many other topics as
That's
well.
valid for life, brother.
You know,
Yeah.
do not let
That's
your
right.
fear blind you, because matter of fact, there is billion, if not trillion, being invested into that. So it will go the way they want to go, you know. And the thing is, like, if you close the door, like, they will not wait for you to open it. You know, like, it's your duty to actually like open this door, see what's going on, and you know, play with it. You know, have some fun with it, talk to it, try it out, and actually like see, you know, what you can do with it. But like, to answer to your question, the thing is, you know, if you leave this technology in only like certain hands, then you are going to be responsible for the reality that you are going to create. Because, I mean, at least a part of it, you know, because obviously, you know, it's always the same thing with technology. You know, like, like, think about it. What is the first tool? The first tool, most likely, is a knife stone, right? It's a stone knife. You know, a stone knife from back
Right.
the
A
press
prehistoric knife, right?
prehistoric knife, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this knife, you can cook a nice dish. With this knife, sorry, you can kill somebody, right? So it's all about like the two side of that knife, and that's true with all the different technology. You know, like with computer, you could, you know, create something beautiful, you know, work on some arts, and you could bully somebody, you could, you know, do some character assassination with people. You could, so it's one more time, it's like always the two side of a tool, you know,
Right.
good and bad, and just like it's your decision to use it in a way or another. But of course, it's going to be, and it's already the case in some regard in some countries. It's going to be a tool of control, right? You have social credit in China. You know, the AI is analyzing if you are smiling enough, and if not, you know, you're not getting a loan. I mean, I'm just slightly caricatural, but that's almost that, you know.
That's crazy.
And you know, one more time, and it's not only about Chinese, you know, all my respect to Chinese people, but
Sure thing.
it's just one more time, you know, the same thing, you know, government and massive institution, you know, they are not playing your way, they're playing their way. They're playing their like for their profits, of course, hopefully for the people as well a little bit, but you know, with that in their end, you know, it's a direct access to massive control. And one more
Massive
time,
control.
if you are like using it, then you open the door for another use cases, you know, not control. You open the door for positive use cases of it. You know, the AI is not evil. You know, when you open ChatGPT, it's not telling you, "Hey guys, I'm gonna destroy you." That's not what's going on. You know,
Right.
but and like you can use so many others LLM, because we, for example, for ChatGPT, just to say, we call it LLM, which means large language model, right? That's the state of the art right now. But so many others as well exist, but like in that entrance door for this particular side of AI, that's how it's called. But basically, you know, one more time, think about it. You know, you have a problem. I will give you like some very like straight to the point example for like on how I use it, you know, on a daily basis, right?
Right.
So I work in hospitality industry. I've been working in this industry for a long time, and in fact, that's when I came in Saint Lucia at first. I was working in a resort,
That's right.
and that's something we connect on to with Mikey, because we both in this industry. You know, with the pros and cons there is to work in this particular industry. But in our industry, like our main ingredient is not the food you serve on the table, it's actually data, right? You deal with data on a daily basis, on a high level of data. a high level of information over guests, over their experience, over what they buy, over what they complain about, etc., etc., etc. So all this data that is being produced, you are faced with problems on a daily basis that keep on coming back, and you can choose to actually identify these problems once again, talk about it, implement it into your favorite LLM, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, whatsoever, and try to find new ways to look for a solution for that particular problem.
So John, let me just stop you quickly. With ChatGPT, Grok, all of these that you just named, do they all have the same function? So is there an equally promising AI just as ChatGPT is that you can use for free?
Well, yeah. I mean, you could use Perplexity, you could use Grok for free, you could use Google AI Studio for free, different type of LLM. But honestly, if you are interested in that, I strongly suggest you to go for the paid version. We are not sponsored by anybody when I'm saying that, but it's just that you will get a higher level of answer. However, it's still the entrance door, it's very cool to actually start with the free version. You'll be able to play around, actually get a taste of what's going on with this AI, and the great thing is, your problems doesn't need to be super hard. For example, if you let's talk about positive usage. You have food in your fridge that you do not want to waste, but that has been sitting there for a while, or not even sitting there, but you coming back at home and you're not sure what to cook, and you just say, hey ChatGPT, I have this ingredient in my fridge. Can you please provide me with a recipe that I can cook easily? I'm not a chef, I just like to cook. Or not, you could implement this information. The more information you're going to implement, the better the answer will be, and you will get an answer. You will get an answer. You for example, if you plan something, or even for example your car, you have a problem with your tire and you don't know how to change your tire. Well, just take a picture of that, send it to ChatGPT, and they'll tell you what to do on right away. You don't need, so it's a way as well to reduce your cost of living. You could ask it to provide you with some insight regarding energy, how to stop wasting energy, or lower down your electricity usage, lower down your water usage, your
monthly expenditure generally, so you can
your expense, how to plant crops, how to raise, and as well, as much as it could sound crazy, but you can even ask how to raise better your kid, or how to deal better with your relationship based on one particular problem, so it can really help you on a daily basis, like a personal assistant, or it can help you on a work wise, or even for example, if you have an entrepreneurial you want to dive into an entrepreneurial venture, and you don't know exactly where to start, but you can actually be helped by AI. You want to create your music production, you want to be assisted in building your car cleaning service, or your taxi service, or even to help you, for example, you selling you selling juice by the road. Well, you can find new recipe with your local crops, your local produce, or even get some insight on how to sell better, maybe get a better ROI on what you are selling, etc., etc. So it really can help you on a high level. But one more time, if you open ChatGPT and you have nothing to say, you have no problems to talk about, then you will not have an answer. And that's why, really and truly, I think in an AI driven era, what's so important is trying to understand problem solving skills, and AI can help you with that once again, right? And just to finish on that question you had, regarding like the future. Yeah, our reality in 2 3 generation will be completely altered from what we know right now.
Right.
Yes, of course, in the robotics, like the robotics is going to come strong in the 2030 decades and even more after that. There is some robots that have AI implemented into them that already
Already.
are in function, right? You could check it online. There's so much, check Boston Dynamics, or check like what's going on with like Chinese robotics, or even
Right.
Tesla robotics, or
Yeah, man. Even the Emirates,
the
the Saudis.
Emirates. The
Yeah.
Emirates, you have robot cops. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have like these dogs walking in Singapore, etc. So these are like the example of the control. Like really the control usage of robotics and AI. But guess what? You could maybe being able like to actually code something to play with a robot in a very close future. That sounds probably super technical and super hard to access, but in fact it's not. Today we have no code. You could build an app without knowing nothing about coding and programming. You just need to ask ChatGPT to help you out. They will do
That's
the
crazy.
iteration for you. So one more time, my best advice for you is like to really focus on like problem solving, and just identify
And
the
more
problem you
so
face.
identifying. That's what I wanted to
Right,
say, John. You hit the
right,
nail on the head right there. Because I think that's people's big problem, not knowing what the problem is. You know,
precisely,
half of the
precisely.
time we're looking for something, but we don't know what we're looking for, John. So then, how are you supposed to ask the right questions if you don't even know what the basis of the question is? You understand? So that's what
Right.
I think it is. So people, you need to look at the glass half full rather than half empty. You have this thing here that could be of great help to you, and that's just all it is. Look at it from that angle. What do you need help with? You know, before you go bashing things and thinking, what your perspective is there and what does that mean, and you don't understand. What do you understand? Do some reading, do some introspection, find out what the issues are, and then ask your favorite AI. You might get your question answered. Because at the end of the day, this is something that, you know, it almost feels like, so like John was saying, the job we do, we work with, let's just say tourism, clientele, stuff like that. Let's Sometimes I deal with people who are maybe in their mid, 40s, mid 50s, and they don't know how to, operate the basics on a computer. So it gets you thinking, why? It's because they somewhat may have been more than likely, close-minded to the whole movement of, computers just kind of really skyrocketed back in
Right.
the 80s and 90s, right? So at that point, they were like these people, like some of us now who are looking at AI like, nah, that shit, that's not good. That's not gonna work. That's not what. And then you see what happens, right? You get left behind, and that slows your progress because if you're a certain age and you have access to, you know, the immediate, the now. A lot of people are living in the past. Some people are living in the future. So if you have a high level of access to what's happening right now, and you have full control over it, it will not be able to control you. So you'll not come to that point where
Yeah.
you're at a train station and you have to use AI for something, or you have to take a flight and you have to use it for whatever this may be, and then you have absolutely not an iota of an understanding as where to start with this thing. Keep your mind open, guys. I would say, like John said, take a look. Ask it about a recipe. I haven't been, I would say, an avid user of AI just as yet, but it's definitely something I've been using, and I would say that we are now using John without even knowing it, because it's
Mm-hmm.
on Google. It's on,
Right.
they show you the Gemini. It's on your phone, guys. It's already listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
We know what the world agenda is. We know these guys have their agendas, and I know sometimes that may be the biggest deterrent for all of us. It's like, you're saying it might be good, but these guys are evil and they are never good. So how in heaven's name can it be good? Well, as you could see, as time has progressed from the beginning of time to now, there have been good and bad people, guys. And guess what? Good people have gotten through, and bad people have gotten through too. What
Right.
you need to do is focus on your element of surprise. How are you going to tackle this, again, oncoming vehicle of a surprise? Don't allow it to be a surprise. That's how you do it. Like John was saying, find out what your problems are and start to get them solved. You need to start thinking on that perspective, on that spectrum, more so than always trying to, shy or blindside things that are new and things that could be extremely helpful to us. So try using AI a little bit more. It might be helpful to you in some way or form. And if not, maybe helpful to somebody in your life. You might have to ask a question one day. Maybe you're in a forest, you know, somebody gets cut, gets bitten by a snake. And I know some of you are saying, but what was Google there for? We always
Right.
had the internet, we had encyclopedias. So this was access to data. So what is the difference that now I can ask? That's the thing. The AI is now more specified on prompt. It's
Mm-hmm.
more personalized to you, and that's why it can actually help you. So versus you just go in and find out, a widespread response on, you know, on, let's just say, AIDS in the Caribbean. You can find out a little bit more about maybe why you are asking about AIDS in the. That's the AI. It can analyze you so much. It can give you a personality analysis, and maybe that's what some of us need. So before you go into doing anything, know yourself. Know
Right.
why you're going into it. Do things with some intention, and then you will realize that the results will be different rather than just again running into a gun battle with a knife. It makes no sense, you know. So John, I really really love the fact that you've given some perspective on the benefits of AI. And obviously we know what the disadvantages could be because that's the whole
Mm-hmm.
purpose of us talking about, how overwhelming AI could be moving
Right.
forward. Um, but what's a starting point for someone who doesn't know anything about AI? They have absolutely no, technical, I would say, because John, you're skilled. You're skilled. I mean, I know AI is rather new, and you like to be modest. You don't like to toot your own horn, and I appreciate you for that,
Right.
for being modest sometimes. But you're skilled. What you do, not everyone could do it. Not everyone could go in and make the right prompt and and say the right thing or select the right AI. I didn't even know about Grokka or the other ones that you told me about. So, what does the the new person, someone who's maybe about 25 years old, just watching this video,
Mm-hmm.
what do they do to kind of springboard their experience into AI? Like, where do they start? Would ChatGPT be the best AI to start with? What do you? Because I know you gave some insight on things they could do, like ask the AI about recipes, stuff like that. But where do they start? Like, how do you get to ChatGPT? Do you just go on Google and you just download? Is ChatGPT the best access point to AI? Is the easiest? Is it the easiest one to use? In your perspective?
Honestly, I think there is first of all, I would like just to react on what you have said. Like,
Right.
yeah, like identification is a key, and even more than like problem solving, because if you cannot identify, then
That's right.
obviously it's going to be harder to go to the next level, which is like problem solving, or knowing what problem to solve. But so it's super super important. But the thing is, uh, think about it that way. You know, when you hit certain part of your body against a wall, or you can identify. I mean, one more time, all my respect to the disabled people that might not been able to identify. But I would say for a regular person, if like I doing this, I tap in my head. Well,
Right.
I can identify that I hit myself on this particular part, right? So why I'm saying that, it might sound stupid, but it's not. It's just like a transfer of information, a transfer of process, right? So like there is some stuff that hit you in your life, right? It might not be as as simple to understand than touching your head, but it can be uh, 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 like as easier as like saying, okay, this situation affected me. That's where identification comes. This situation, like, oh, today I really felt happy about this. Oh, today, like, this person like made me absolutely angry, etc., etc. And this how you actually you can be able like to identify, or like maybe you are in your working place and you keep on seeing like something happening every day, or you keep on like facing one particular situation, or you keep on having certain types of dreams and not knowing where to start, etc., etc., etc. So I guess that's where identification really starts, and as well, it could be like as simple as oh, these days, like I feel like to drink even more water, or etc., etc. Like one more time, it doesn't have to be complex. It can be simple, and I think that's the best way to start. And that's why I took the example of the recipe, because it's a simple problem, but we all faced it. I mean, most of us faced it. We coming back home, we're opening the fridge and we said, what can I eat now?
Right.
And most of the time, especially when we don't know how to cook, or like we're not really, like, we don't really like it, or we don't really want to do it, well, we're just going to probably that is going to lead us to buy some unhealthy food, or this is going to lead us to probably just do like just eat the same thing again and again and again and again. So you see, here is identification. You realize that each time you're going home, you're opening your fridge, but you're not sure what to cook because you don't have enough knowledge over it, and that's all fine. That can be changed, and then it leads to going like to eat some poor food, some highly modified food, and this is a problem. This is identification, because at the end of the day, it's okay, we all do it. We sometimes we like to go to KFC or whatsoever, like whatever. It's okay to do it sometimes, but it's not okay to keep on doing it again and again and again, because it will affect your health and your mindset, etc., etc., etc. So you see, small problem identification, and he said, okay, you're saying to yourself, okay, I want to eat more healthy. You identify that in your current life, that's what you want to do. And so to answer to your question, Mikey, well, I think ChatGPT, that's actually where I started, and I think it's very like friendly, user friendly, the others are too, and I will encourage you to just like open it. You could go on Google. If you type like on Google, you type AI, you will have ChatGPT popping up. You will have Google AI Studio popping up, obviously, because it's their suites of AI. You will have Grok popping up. You will have Perplexity, Claude, Mistral, and other LLMs, new LLMs that keep on coming out. But I would say ChatGPT, like OpenAI, like, and even though obviously, like one of the major shareholder of OpenAI is Bill Gates, but I mean, what can we do? I have a Windows, I have a Windows computer. I mean, I have a PC, like basically saying. I'm giving money to Bill Gates when I'm buying it. So
you can't escape the guy. You
cannot escape the guy. The same way you cannot escape Apple. If you are on the other side, like that's how it goes.
That's right. But you can use your Windows PC to do some good.
Right.
You know what I'm
precisely.
saying? You
precisely.
can use that to share a good message, like what we're doing right now.
Right.
Or to think up some grand scheme of an idea that may just contest something like world depopulation, which I think, quite frankly, is a bit crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy, and I think we need to, like, regarding that particular topic, we will be able like to have maybe a a major podcast on that
Oh
because
yeah, we definitely have to talk on
it's
depopulation and
just
bro
bullshit alone.
and the world superpowers and the fact that this makes
Right,
no sense and the world is so
right,
big that it
right.
probably there's too much world for the people, the amount of people. Bro, there's more
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
There's more space than there'll ever be people. That's
Ex-
that's how it is, you know. But they're
exactly.
making it seem like, and they're saying it's the city areas and the
Yeah,
densely populated. But in
right,
truth and in fact, then we can create infrastructure
right.
throughout the world to create space for people. So why are you saying the world needs less people? It just needs more houses. It just needs more
Exactly,
infrastructure.
exactly.
That's all it is.
And like AI can help you with that. AI can help you with that. Because guess what? You know, we like just to touch base very fast on that, and that has been like a real, you know, we put some deep thoughts into that with Mikey, like along the food security journey
Oh yeah.
we
Oh
had.
yeah.
But like one more time, it's about data, right? When you plant a crop, the way you plant it produce data, right? It's just the way you plant it. The thing is, like, look at it. You know, you have generation of people planting, but they don't have track record of on how they plant. You know, like sometimes there's just like the oral tradition of saying, oh, okay, you have to do this and that. But the thing is, like, guess what? If you could just like take your phone and speak to AI and explain your process, maybe it can provide you with some insights that you don't have, that is based on another, you know, bigger knowledge that you can have access right away, you know, and you can take a picture and say, oh yeah, like my crops is has that type of parasite right now, and I don't know what to do with it, etc., etc. But one more time to just answer to in a more down to earth way to your question, Mikey, where to start with AI, you know, baby steps to reference to a very cool video you have done, and I think it was the first video of the podcast. Go check it out, guys. If you didn't check it, it's a very cool video, and it will allow you to actually understand the core message of its objective as well.
That's
So
right.
so where to start? As I told you, go on online, you know, type down ChatGPT, or go on your phone. You can download it. You don't need a computer to do that. You know, you can just go on your on your phone, download it in the App Store if you're using like in the Google App Store, on the Apple App Store, you know, Google Play Store, or
Apple
the
App Store.
Apple
Yeah.
App Store, right? You just download GPT and you just talk to it. Guess what? You don't even have to write down properly. It's not about grammar, right? It's you are able like to send a text message to somebody. Well, you are able to use AI. It's as simple as that. And you can use the voice mode, right? Like the same way you're using your voice mode on WhatsApp, you know, when you don't want to type. Most of us using WhatsApp like that these days, and for
Voice note.
voice note, right? A voice message, and the AI will just transcribe what you've said into text, and you click on send, and boom, it will react.
So
Read.
in other words, guys, you could be a complete retard and still do this. All right. You do
Say
not
that.
need. You do not need any
Right.
level of real core intelligence to do this. And I'm not saying this to be offensive to anyone. I'm saying this to say that keep your mind open. You have access to this, and
All right.
there's nothing difficult about giving it a try. You will get results. You could even talk to it. You could use the audio form, and that's guys, we're in 2025. There's a lot happening around us. We have to get it with the program, or the program is gonna get with us. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That's it. Get on top of things before things get on top of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, give it a quick shot, guys. ChatGPT, it's AI, it's new, and it's a learning process. It's objective. You know what we do. We all just to share the information and learn from each other and create a collective source of power. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, check out ChatGPT. Give it a little try. See what you can derive from it. Ask it a personal question. Ask it a question that maybe is a commercialized question. The point is, you will never know until you try. And that's really what it is. So John, I really appreciate you having this talk with us on AI. And I mean, we have so much more to do when it comes to, like we just said, the world depopulation. What is this? What is global depopulation about? Why is this a
Right.
thing? And how does this affect us in our everyday lives, and how can it affect our futures? Um, on a topic of futures, John is gonna be a dad. I just want to say congrats to John. I hope you put a really cool,
Cheers,
a
bro.
really cool
Cheers.
chest. Big up to you. I have
Much
no more drink in
appreciated.
my cup, but this is to you and yours.
Same here,
You
bro.
know, yeah, man. It's not every day,
Much
guys, that
appreciated.
you get to be a part of a process like this. And I saw John. Basically, you could just say I've seen John mature into the man that he is today. We started off. We were much younger than we are now. It was 2017 for sure, and we did a lot of things. I would say that were that carried a great merit, and because of doing these things, we've maintained our relationship as friends, even from across these waters, and we're here to serve you in some way or form. So John, big up to you. Thanks for coming on again. I mean,
Big up,
this is
Mikey.
this
Big
is
up to
this
all
is
the
John's
Lucian
show.
listening to us
Yeah,
and all the other
big up
people.
everybody.
For sure.
Yes, everybody that's on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Show us some love. You guys are gonna see John again for sure. We're definitely gonna do this because you know what they say: when it's nice, you gotta do it twice, right, John?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even
That's
more,
right.
even more. Keep
Exactly.
on doing.
Exactly. But John, you have anything special to tell our listeners, our viewers before we close off today? I know that this was supposed to be our topic, but we're feel free. Feel free,
Yeah,
brother, to
eh,
open up if there's anything at all you feel that just that
absolutely.
if you're feeling like you're guided by inspiration, brother, say less. Go ahead.
Well, well, one more time, thank you very much, for having me there with you, Mikey, on this episode. AI is a very, very deep subject, and there's
Surely.
so much to talk about. There's so much to do with it, and do not lose trust, guys. There's, the world is changing. The world is shifting. It's full of unknown, but it's full of great promises as well. It's full of opportunities. I know sometimes we face, strong, a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence to, go for our project. And even like it took a year for us to actually be on this first episode together. So, you
Guys,
know,
when we created the whole thing, we were supposed to be doing this thing together from the onset. Honestly, and if you look back at my first video, you could see that I mentioned the team. But
right.
it's funny that you know what they say, John. Better late than never. Better late than never.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
it's great to
absolutely.
have you on with me.
Give
Finally.
yeah, exactly, and give yourself time to fail, accept to fail. Like really and truly, I failed so much time. I know a lot of people don't like this word, and we will talk about it probably at some point. But allow yourself to fail completely. And to just reach the rock bottom and be able to actually like go back because that's the only way around. When you fail and it's all good. You can try again. It's allowed.
That's right.
Really and truly. You can always come back, but just be humble. Just be true to yourself. And I'm sure you are. And with that said, you could like do a crazy thing, amazing things, meet amazing people. Build astonishing relationship, friendship. And like really and truly, keep on believing, keep on trying, keep on connecting to its objective, obviously, because with us you are going to eat the objective.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So you already know, guys. All right. So all I want you guys to do, if you haven't tried it as yet, give the AI a try. Have a little bit of a read. Look into it. Look into things that can grow you. You guys are always online looking at the
Right.
weirdest things. I mean, I'm not saying. Listen, it's your perspective to look at what you want to look at. But I'm saying, start to foster some balance into your life. Start to look at things that can also grow you. In as much as we always like to look at things that just entertains us. It's not all about entertainment, guys.
Right.
It's about being impactful, and the only way you can be impactful is by looking at things and doing things and speaking to people being about things that are impactful. That's simply put that well put that way. So don't forget that. John, great message for the people. Guys, hit the notification bell. Come on. I mean, this is how many times do I have to really say this? You know, I hear a lot of YouTubers, and you know, every time they're done with their video, it's like hit the notification bell. How many times do I have to say do I have to say this? But John, it was another great one, brother. We'll
Absolutely,
catch up very
Mikey.
soon.
Absolutely,
I'll see
Mikey.
you next week. And with that being said, see you guys later.
Yes, I take care. Big up.